Well, Valley, how you doing? Welcome to the show. This is Greg Selber and Jake Berry here. We're here for another week of excitement. And last week, if this week is anything like last week, we're in good shape for the games to come.
Yeah, we got some great matchups. McAllen Memorial 3-2 playing Westlake East 3-2. It's a meaningful matchup.
It is.
But nothing is, I think, is more important than Westlake versus Mackay.
Undefeated team squaring off for number one so far. And of course, you got Ed Katz and Mercedes. And when those two teams play, it's always a game of the week.
Yeah, and if you look at that too, Mercedes is in a nice spot right now. A spot I didn't think we would see them in at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, man, with all the adversity that the Tigers have gone through, they've got a chance to play at home against a very good Ed Katz team, and I wouldn't count them out at all.
No, I like the way their team's playing right now. Presas is really doing well.
Presas is great. He had 280 yards. Can they get pressure on him? Pressure on Presas. We're going to talk all about the big games to come, but first, before we get to the highlights, I want to mention the fact that out at Westlaco's Bobby Lackey Stadium on Friday, man, it was just a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, and the one thing about Westlaco is whenever you go to Westlaco, they make it great for media because they got all that food up top.
Not too bad.
It's always a quality production there. You know, it feels like you're at a college game, small college game.
It sure does, man. I'll tell you what, the Panthers outlasted Westlaco East. It was a huge crowd. Well-played game. I really felt like they had the veteran crew out there at the right time with Mike Buck and them. It was just fun to be there. It made me remember why I love high school football so much, because it was just a great night, and you know, one team had to lose, one had to win. I'm not too concerned about that. Just know that, like you said, it was a first-class situation, and I look forward to getting back out to Westlaco as soon as I can.
Yeah, I know. I need to go out there this year. I haven't been out there yet.
Well, they've got McAllen this week. That's another great game. So I know October 31st is coming. And I know November 1st is coming, Bird Bowl. But we've got some matchups this week. Now, we're going to talk all about them. We're going to do all the right things, talk about stats, schedules, everything else. But first, let's look at the highlights. Carlos Robledo, take it away, my man.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. McAllen High versus San Benito. Mac High with 2 rushers over 100 yards. Fred Hover, 193 yards. Ricky Rodriguez, 125. Bulldogs win 35-28. McAllen Memorial PSG North Trevor Spates, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mustangs win it 61-15. McAllen Rowe taking on PSJA Memorial. Hector Bosque, quarterback, scores in the first half. Jose Chavez with 158 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Warriors win by a final score of 28-25. Mercedes versus Valley View. Rene Presas throwing here. He finds Joshua Garza. Garza with 110 yards receiving. Rene Presas passed for 280 yards. This is Gilbert Vela. Gilbert Vela with 122 yards rushing. And the Tigers win a big one, 44-3. Brownsville Lopez versus Brownsville Porter. Horacio Salinas with the catch there for Brian Fuentes, 39-0 Lopez. Harlingen versus Brownsville Vets. That's Brandon Garza. He hits Steven Gasca. Garza with 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cards win 24-3. In Port Isabel versus La Feria, Jose Garza on the defensive side of the ball. He picks up the ball, rumbles for the touchdown. PI wins 62-14.
Well, 31-5A, no matter what you call it, the black and blue, the meat grinder, Jake, it's coming down to the last 3 weeks, and who knows what's going to happen over there.
Yeah, I mean, the matchups there are just crazy right now because, you know, it didn't look like Memorial was going to do much this year at the beginning of the year.
That's right.
And they ever since their bye week, they've turned it around, albeit against some sub-5A teams.
3 teams with losing records, but they've averaged 55 points a game in doing so. The kid is going berserk every week, 55 and 61-yard touchdown, 250 yards. Now they've got Westlaco East coming off the loss to Westlaco. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I want to see this matchup because, you know, they're both running teams except for Memorial. Now
they've started to throw a little bit.
With DJ Johnson, they're able to throw, and he's able to, you know, he's been collecting balls in the end zone.
He sure has. I'll tell you what, but East threw the ball well. They completed 6 balls for 77. They threw pretty well, too. I wonder if they'll keep that strategy up. So both teams are 3-2. Now, Memorial has a little bit tougher of a road because they still have to play McAllen. But if East gets by this one and moves to 4-2, they got PSG Memorial and Rowe. You would think those are winnable games. It's a fantastic matchup. We're going to find out a lot about these teams. Now, people can say, well, Memorial hadn't beaten any winning teams. It doesn't matter, right? Like Emmett Smith used to say, it doesn't matter because that's a springboard to right now.
Yeah.
So here they are with a chance to go take a lead in district and get to that second place spot. And it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year, they needed a chance to actually learn to throw with the personnel they had because they lost Pedraza early in the season. And they had to basically fill in somebody.
And now they have, and Jonathan Sanchez is throwing some touchdown passes. So Memorial is more balanced than it has been in years. And let's face it, any team with the kid has a reasonable chance to win because Trevor Spates is phenomenal. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he rushed for a couple of yards the other night.
Yeah, a few little dips and a few little darts and a few little everything.
And if you haven't seen, his feet are just amazing. When he wants to cut, his feet are going left and his body's going right.
And then he'll reverse it and come back the way he faked away from. The guy's ridiculous, man. Okay, so McAllen and Weslaco is a great ball game. Will Weslaco have a little bit of a down moment after beating East like that?
I don't think so. I mean, because Coach Tony B, he gets his guys up.
The master of motivation.
Yeah, and the thing is, what you're going to see is, they've got a stable of running backs. We always talk about Weslaco East and their stable. Weslaco has a very good running game, and that slot T is so hard to defend.
Well, they ran everything the other night, man. They even ran the wingback around. They threw the ball for a touchdown. Both teams in this game in which no passes were supposed to be thrown threw a pass for touchdowns right off the bat. Let me tell you about Weslaco, man. This guy, Michael Torres, number 40, is a beast. He's an absolute animal, a junior. He plays linebacker, but sometimes he's at an end. I saw him come from what looked like strong safety. That guy is amazing. He was killing people, man. 15 tackles, he was killing people.
How many times did they throw that game? I didn't get to go to that game.
Weslaco completed one pass.
Really?
But that's all they had to do. They always have to complete one pass. Don't be surprised if they throw more.
Yeah.
Against the McAllen.
Yeah, and McAllen, Fred looked really good running the ball.
Boy, he had 193 yards last week. Give me a break.
He really isn't throwing as much as he has in the past,
right?
Even in this early in the season, but. I think this is going to be one of those interesting games because Weslaco, the last time they played, who was it, Memorial, they were picking out balls left and right.
Yes, they were.
And this game's at home for Weslaco.
It's at home, and I'll tell you one thing I like about Weslaco, and this is not we'll talk about McAllen in a minute. No turnovers. Okay, in the games Weslaco struggled. They had 4 turnovers a couple of weeks ago, 3 or 4 in a game. So when they keep the ball, they keep the ball. And they had an 8-minute and 20-yard drive in the third quarter that pretty much put it away. I'm telling you, Weslaco's tough. Now, on the other hand, McAllen is 7-0. You cannot discount the fact that this team has not lost all year. Therefore, it knows how to win. And let me tell you how I can tell they know how to win besides a 7-0 record. They've won 5 games by fewer than 10 points. I think it's 2, 4, 7, 8, or 9. They know how to finish.
Yeah.
They don't turn the ball over. And they finish, and they're 7-0. So I wouldn't say that they're much of an underdog, even though they're playing on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I think playing on the road means that they've had 2 or 3 points.
Yeah, and it's not like they had a really tough preseason too.
Yeah,
non-district schedule.
United South has turned out to be a good ball club. Yeah. They're going to make the playoffs in 29-5A.
Yeah, and what you see with Mac High is that they can throw the ball, and they can throw the ball.
They may put it up 20 times this week. Yeah. They haven't thrown it much because they haven't needed to. They may need to this week.
Yeah, and the teams that they played have pretty much allowed them to run the ball up and down. So it's against Rowe, they get to run the ball.
Right.
Pretty much they run the ball and try to control time.
They will run it if they can run it. But I think they're going to mix in. I think they throw 15 or 20 times. Yeah. That's going to be a phenomenal game. That district is where it's at this week, guys, because we also got PSJ and San Benito. Both these teams need to win to stay in the hunt.
Yeah, and San Benito, they've had so many close games this year.
Yeah, they have.
And for a team that most people didn't really have on the radar to even make the playoffs, I give it up to them. They're playing well. And PSJ, what can you say? Their defense is great. Their offense can move the ball. They've had some hiccups along the way.
They've had a few injuries. They had the fast start. They've hit kind of the wall, but they're coming back. And if they can beat San Benito, they'll be at 3-3, and they have a chance. San Benito is one of those teams. Edinburgh, San Benito, Brownsville Vets. They get the bye week late in the year, which means you lose a chance to win a game, and so you better win all you can. You better load up now.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing to be in. Is well, if you're not doing as hot as you wanted to be,
right? Because you can't make up any ground.
Yeah, and you're sitting there waiting for other people to make mistakes.
Yeah, well, this is the time of year, Jake, that you either have your own destiny in your hands, or you start looking around. And they used to call it scoreboard watching, but we don't have a scoreboard that shows who's winning what. But with Twitter, it's just about the same thing. Well, that's a look at 31. Now, we before we get away, we like to honor the Coach of the Week. And in that big Tanaco Bowl victory, Weslaco 35, East 21, Coach Tony, a dear friend of mine from way back, although I'm not biased, we just happen to have a long record together, he's our Coach of the Week. Let's hear what he has to say, because it's always something interesting.
We really, that, I guess, getting back to the fourth quarter, we were down 21-20, and they just punched it in. It was like 10 minutes to go in the game, and and you're right. We're trying to figure out a combination. We had come up with a little scheme for Eric Gonzalez, And but we really needed for the other backs to step up, and they did. Victor Cardoso did an amazing job, and Aaron Sanchez ran hard, and in the first quarter it was Brian Guetta. So we really had 3 or 4 guys that really stepped up, other than Eric.
There's a lot of passing going on at all levels of the game. But you have stuck with what has gotten you to this level, all your years of coaching, running the football.
Sure.
Is that something you're just going to continue to do until someone just finds a way to stop you?
Well, I think there's if you're a master math teacher and you got the scores going to a certain level, I don't think you're going to go to other things that don't get your students to another level. That's what's been working for us. We kind of hang our hat on running the football, and it's really what you said right now is very important, because everybody else is running the spread. So consequently, everybody else, the defenses that we face are defenses that stop the spread. So they really don't see our offense. So it's really a huge advantage for our kids to run this offense, because if they see a 2 tight end offense maybe once or twice a year, when in the past they used to see it 7, 8 times a year, we have the advantage, and it's hard to simulate our offense. It really is. So that's one. Now the other thing is that people don't realize is we have a spread concept. We just don't live and die by it. We're going to throw the football at the end of the year in the playoffs when we think that there's an opportunity to. We have a whole spread 2-minute, 4-minute offense. We have every play that all the spread teams have, and so we've cut out certain passes or certain series to accommodate that newfangled offense.
All right, so in 31-5A, really no rest, and here we are Saturday morning, getting ready for McAllen already. What kind of challenges did they present you guys?
Well, we haven't really looked at the tape yet, but just off the top of my head, I know the running back Ricky Rodriguez is the real deal. We knew that last year when we played them, and we know that they've got a very big offensive line, and they've been pushing people around, and Coach Kevin over there's done a tremendous job, and so we got our hands full with that, and hopefully we're not too banged up or bruised up. We had a real physical game, so I'm hoping that we're not too beat up. Maybe the Bulldogs will take it easy on us. The other thing is Hoover's. He's the guy that makes him go also. I mean, not only running, but he throws the ball real well, and if he doesn't like what he sees, he tucks it and runs. So that's another variable that we got to be ready for, and that's hard to do.
All right, there you go. Coach Tony Villarreal, the 956sports.com Coach of the Week.
Well, Coach Tony Villarreal of Weslaco, by my count, the winningest active coach in Valley football. He's one of the veterans and one of the deans of the business. So he's done a good job over there. See how they do against McAllen. That's another big game for them. Let's go to 35A. We just went to 31. Some interesting things are happening. We said in the opening that EHS and Economides is probably the game of the week, simply because it will determine a lot in the standing.
Yeah, both teams are basically fighting for that 4th spot. Vela right now is also fighting for that spot. Now, here's the interesting thing. Edinburgh is pretty much out of. They
have one fewer game. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. If they beat Economies this week, what we're going to see is basically a 3-way tie.
Right.
Well, probably.
And they lose 21 positive points to Vela, because we think Vela's probably going to end 4-4 because they got Sharyland and North next day. 4-2 now. Ironically, Vela is in that 4th place spot right now, or 3rd place, because they got one more win than Donna. But we assume the way things will shake out. We may be wrong, but go ahead.
Unless Vela gets a win against Edinburgh North or Sharyland, what you're going to see is probably a 3-way tie. Because Edinburgh should win their last game.
Right. Yeah.
So they'll have 4 wins.
They will have 4 wins. Now the Economides may still have 5. They got to lose to Donna too for that to happen, right? Because they're 3-2 right now.
Yeah, and so if there's a 3-way tie, positive points are going to go to Vela. Now the interesting thing is,
if Edinburgh High wins, they can help out their dire rivals, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and
Vela.
And let's be realistic. There's some animosity here.
Oh man, there's a whole lot of.
You can cut it with a knife.
Man.
And so what you're going to see is if Edinburgh does lose to Economides, it basically puts Economides in the spot for the 4th place.
Yeah, there's no way they can. Well, there's always a way, but they get to 4-2 with 2 games left. It'll be Donna and Palmview, so you can basically make them 5-3 at least. Maybe 6-2.
Yeah.
So Jags are looking tough. I was out there in La Jolla, And it was probably the smallest crowd I've ever seen in my life on a Thursday night. Hey, what the heck? Hey, you know what? The Jags got the running machine cranked up again. They played super defense. Martin Diaz, 9 carries, 10 yards. They gave them nothing, man. I'm telling you. There were 3 plays that went for 147 yards. Other than that, they had 43 the rest of the night. The Jag defense played well. That team, the bye week really helped those cats out. And now they got Edinburgh High, and that's going to be nuts on a Thursday.
Yeah, and Edinburgh played La Jolla.
And they shut them out. One of 2 teams to get a shutout.
Offense, again,
Well, they scored their average.
Yeah,
13 points. That's about what they get.
But Christoph Martinez.
Wow.
What can you say about him? He had a 45,
53 and 55. He's got 9 field goals for the year, 3 over 50 and 5 over 40. The kid's going D1, man. Plus, he's a great soccer player. Okay, so Edinburgh's defense played a good ball game against La Jolla. They got their average. Can they keep up with the Jags?
See, that's the thing. If their defense plays like they did against, say, like Edinburgh North, Donna, something like that, they're fine. They'll be fine because their offense wouldn't have to put up more than 13 points.
Right.
But if they have to, look, they haven't scored over 30 points this year. So.
No, they scored 30 against Palmview. 2.7 per carry. That's the thing that worries me on the rush. That's not Bobcat-like, and only 2 rushing touchdowns all year.
Yeah.
I mean, they just got to be able to pound it more. The line has improved, but it's still probably not a strong point yet.
Yeah, and they lost one of their running backs this week.
Yeah, they did.
And so they're down to 2 running backs.
Time for an unknown hero to step up. Who will it be?
Yeah, it's and it's one of those things right now. They're losing people left and right now.
They are, but that's a pride game, man.
Yeah.
They want to beat the Jags because they used to own them. In fact, they won 9 out of 11 in the series, I might add.
Yeah, and you don't want to lose to an in-town rival.
Speaking of which, rivalry week continues the next day with North and Vela. Vela's got to pull off that upset, man, because they don't want to have to depend on all this machinations and funny business. They can shock the Valley and win that game and make the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's all going to come down because they don't have the same running game they had at the beginning of the year, so it's all going to come down to the QB.
And they scored 44 points in the second half against Palmview. I'd say their offense is moving pretty well. See, Vela averages 35 a game. They score, and they get up and down the field. They've had some injuries, obviously running back and receiver as well, from what I understand. But it's still a quality team. I expect them to give North a run for its money. North obviously not game planning for Sherryland yet. But in the back of their minds, man, the pumpkin spice has to be there.
Yeah, and they had a bye week, so a lot of people probably going, well, who'd they play? They didn't play anybody. They had a bye week to get ready for Vela and for Sherryland.
I think it's outstanding.
Yeah, and so what you're going to see this week, I think, is they're going to come after Vela. They're not going to let Ever sit in the pocket.
No, he's going to have to run, and I'll tell you what, a lot of guys come from the backside and lay some licks. The thing is, see, they need this challenge right now. Just like Sherryland needed Donna last week to get them off of, 48-0, 43-7. Those teams need, and it's a top-heavy league with 2 great teams. They need to play against teams that will challenge them so they can get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, much so, because, their first-round game is probably going to be extremely tough because is Edinburgh the big school? No, Edinburgh North's not the big school.
No, Sherryland will be big and Donna will be big, and that
too.
means that if it's Economides and North, they will be small.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to play Alexander, and they don't want to do that right now.
That's what's scary.
They don't want to do that.
Yeah. So what you're going to see right now, and I think they're talking about, was it Eagle Pass or Del Rio? One of those,
and neither one of those teams is as good as it was last year. They're not bad, but it's a down year out in Laredo. We should be able to take them. My question is, and we ain't gone down and driving south yet, but is 31-5A going to be able to do better than 1-3 against 32 like they did last year? That was somewhat surprising. Remember that action?
Yeah, because you kind of always used to make fun of 32-5A, never being able to beat 31.
I'll tell you what, man, they got some. They had a good playoff success last year. Okay, well, Sherryland has who? We got Sherryland against Palmview. They're probably going to win that. Donna gets La Jolla. Both those teams are looking strong. Donna would have to have an entire collapse not to make the playoff. They're looking pretty good. Like I said, they could end up 6-2. They really could. It's a good football team. They played a lot of close games too.
Yeah. And, that game against Sherryland had 3 turnovers in the first quarter.
Donna was on them, man.
Yeah.
Donna was on them, and they had a shot, but Sherryland woke up. Look, they had a turnover and this and that miscue. They still end up with 47 points and 500 yards of offense. So much for a slow start. That team is tough, man.
Yeah. And Lance Madden didn't play last game. They had Diego Chrysler.
He got in, and I heard he got dinged up again,
Yeah.
so it wasn't his time. So hopefully by the end of the season, he'll be able to come back strong and contribute in some way, because after all, man, he was doing great things the first 2 or 3 weeks. You remember his numbers, 250 here, 230 there. Bottom line is Sherryland is looking, I'm not saying they're looking unbeatable, but they're pretty tough, man.
Yeah, they are. So, I'd like to see a rematch of Sherland Harlingen.
Oh my! I think Harlingen would too, because that 40-2 or whatever it was, that's no good.
Yeah.
They're still mad about that. Well, let's look at our scholar athlete for the week. You know, we like to find guys who are doing it off the field, on the field, in the classroom. You know, the all-around guys. This kid is a sophomore, Sammy Garza, or Sam Garza from Edinburgh North, big defensive end, number 90. You can also see him hitting the crap out of the baseball. Can I say that? Okay, good. Yeah. For Edinburgh North baseball team. So Sam Garza, South Texas College Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Sam Garza is only a junior on the Edinburgh North Cougars, but already he is thinking about graduating in the top 10 of his class next year.
That's been a big thing throughout childhood and stuff. My goal is possibly in the top 10. Right now I'm 15 or 16, so still trying to work up there, but to go to a good college.
Garza is taking some pretty tough classes. They consist of AP and dual enrollment courses. It's not easy coming to practice for 2 hours, then heading home to do homework.
It's difficult, but it's doable. After practice, it's get home a little later, but if you really want to dedicate yourself to the studies and doing well in school, it's worth it.
Garza not only plays football, he's also on the baseball team. Sports has always been important to him, and in the future, it will continue to be a part of his life.
My plan is to be an orthopedic surgeon. When I was little, I got hurt, and I went to a doctor, and he really helped me out. I had surgery, and he helped me recover really well, so I would like to do that and help other athletes to recover also.
Sam Garza, the South Texas College Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Well, we're southbound, and we're talking about 32-5A. We mentioned earlier in the show that they, of course, had that great performance in the playoffs last year against their buddies from 31. How's it shaping up this year, man?
Well, that's the interesting thing. Coach Rene Medrano, pretty much he's in the driver's seat right now for that last spot.
Yeah,
you know,
another one of the Deans of Valley coaches, along with Coach Tony over there at Weslaco. Hannah's got 3 games left. One of them's against Harlingen. That's going to be tough. But they have Rivera and Lopez. Right now, they got 3 wins. They win 2 out of 3. They control their own destiny, does Hannah?
And Brownsville Veterans is in one of those just ugly, god-awful spots where you have to sit there and watch everybody else play. And
going to root for Rivera and Lopez. They'll be at those games, I assume.
And they have to beat, who was it this week?
Brownsville Veterans is at Los Fresnos, and that is not an easy task down there. Let me tell you, the Falcons are tough, especially at home. Brownsville Veterans, though, man, we got to give them some credit. They played Harlingen all the way.
You got to look at the size of that team because, you know, it's rare that you see a Brownsville school with all that size.
They're enormous all over the field.
Yeah, they're a middle linebacker.
Oh, yeah, Christian Vargas, a junior, one of the many great Christians of the season. That's the name of the year, it seems like.
You look at that kid right now. You go see him on film.
Big boy.
He looks like he's towering over everybody.
He does. He's got to be about 205, about 6'1". He's a big kid, and he made a lot of plays. Right in the middle there, linebacker. How about Adrian Garcia, 74? I think that's the biggest line in the Valley. Forget about Memorial or Mac High. Across the line, 6 guys are huge. They look like they weigh about 288.
Yeah, and it's surprising that they're not. They don't have a better record than they do because that line is so big. And I know I know lines and linebackers don't win games all the time, you know, but. With that line, you could pretty much put, you can put me behind there.
Indeed, yeah. I think they would have had a better record had it not been for Marcos Castillo getting hurt. That quarterback was something else. They got Derek Rodriguez there now, and he's a great athlete. Not necessarily a natural quarterback, but, they're hanging tough. So they got Los Fresnos on the road. Boy, Los Fresnos continues to score lots of points and get lots of guys involved. Cox had over 100. Cruz had over 100. They come at you, man.
Yeah, and they've got South coming up, too. So, I don't want to say they're overlooking, this game.
They better not.
I don't think you can.
Because if Veterans plays the way they did against the Cardinals, it was only 10-0 after 3. They had a touchdown call back, did the Chargers. They had a field goal blocked by that great Harlingen special teams. It could have been a different story.
Yeah. And Harlingen, the score, regardless of what the score, it was
24-3.
Yeah, that last score was, pretty much in the last couple minutes. So, you have to look at it really as 17-3.
Exactly. So Veterans has the biggest game of the year for them at Los Fresnos. After that, pace and a bye week, and so they've got to win to get to 5-3. Hannah can control their own destiny. It's going to be interesting. Now, let's talk about those Harlingen Cardinals for a minute, though, because, man, Brandon Garza, he is such a good passer. I mean, 66% completion. He throws a deep ball. He can throw it on a line. You know, he's not going to win any shuttle contests, but he gets out there and throws on the run. I'm really impressed with him. He's having an all-valley year.
Yeah, and for a kid who took a lot of heat last year he took a lot of heat. If you were, on the forums, they were knocking the kid. He's come back this year. I mean, it's fuel. It's fuel. He just uses it as fuel, and he's really proven that he can play.
Oh man.
I do know that there are some Division I schools that actually have taken.
Well, he's not small. I mean, is he 6 foot, 6'1"?
He's about 6 foot. So
big boy.
Yeah. So but the thing is, he's got a nice arm.
He does. He's accurate.
He's worked with quarterbacks like Sean Salisbury and stuff like that.
So
and he's been to those camps. So it's not like he's green when it comes to competition.
And let me tell you, man, Brandon Vasquez is having a tremendous year. He had 10 for 136. You add him to Rosales, Gallegos, and about 27 other guys. They like Sharyland. They come up with a weapon every week. Brandon Vasquez is the guy who at the beginning of the season was like, put me on that watch list. Hey, you're on the watch list and you're on an all-valley list maybe, kid. You're having a great year.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
And the thing about their receivers they're always going at the highest point. A lot of receivers down here in the valley, you'll see them just catch it real low. These guys are going up for the ball. They're catching at the highest point. And it's impressive because you see them actually, they're fundamentally sound.
And yards after the catch.
Yes.
You see those moves that Vasquez had in that one play in the highlights, man. He was just, I mean, it was incredible, you know. Now, they're buddies over at Harlingen South. Both undefeated now in district. November 1st, I'm planning this one. I'm going to say this right off the bat. I'm planning to take in the Pumpkin Spice Bowl, North and Sharyland, and the next day I'm going to try to go on over to Bogus Stadium and see the Bird Bowl. This is Valley High School football at its best. Did you see Grant Preciado for South? Unbelievable. An 84-yard reception, a 90-yard interception return. Taylor went 73. They're going up and down the field in the track meet. Scored 63 points against Rivetta.
Yeah, and the thing about that team is, we've said that they need Taylor to rush the ball.
And he is.
But I think right now at this point in the season, they could throw the ball too if they had to win. I'm
glad you brought that up because the wild card, and I've said it before, is Sean Montemayor. Here's a 3-year starter, a gutty kid who came back from a pretty serious injury. We weren't sure whether this and that. And that guy's money. 10 out of 15, 316 yards. He's every bit the quarterback that Brandon is. I mean, in fact, that you have no difference in those two kids. I mean, Brandon may have more yards, but Montemayor is a fine quarterback in his own right. They're going to be great at the Bird Bowl.
Yeah.
And I hope to see it.
Yeah. One thing I would like to just point out is that I don't know why you would ever put Sharyland and Edinburgh North on a Thursday. They should flex that like they do in the NFL.
That's funny. Well, I mean, it works out well for us because you've got one night and one the next. I'm going to be very tired, but very happy. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so Sharyland or South has Lopez this week. Lopez is scary, man. They can play. I mean, every other week they look like they're going to be a contender. Right now they're at 2-3. They're going to have to hustle to make the playoffs, but they could give South a hard time.
Yeah, and if they could put up a defensive effort like Brownsville Vets did against South,
right?
Keep it low, and with their points.
They got some explosive guys. Horacio Salinas, man, I like that guy. And Quezada's a good player, too. Okay, so Brownsville Veterans at Lopez is the marquee game. South at Lopez. Porter and Harlingen, even though Porter has improved, that could be something to watch.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move there.
And moving along. Hannah and Rivetta. Rivetta's got, they've got some people. They've got some players. They could throw a wrench into the works. And like I said, Brownsville Veterans is going to be rooting for them because Hannah needs that win to keep it going. Then if they win 2 out of 3, the Eagles are in the playoffs.
Yeah. And, it's crazy, too, because, it was kind of iffy, when he left Pace. When Coach Medrano left Pace for
that was the Brownsville merry-go-round. You didn't quite know who was where until the chairs stopped and then someone was out and everybody was in. So.
Yeah. Aren't you coaching there next year?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm going to be at Brownsville Horowitz. They're going to have a new Jewish high school, so it's going to be exciting. All right, so now what do we have here? What do you tip to now? We're going to tip to the funny girl?
Yes, Oneda. She was actually at Sharyland and Donna's game last week.
Wow, I kind of wish I had been. Let's see what this gal's up to.
Hey guys, another great Friday night. I'm Oneda Guerra with 956sports.com. And tonight I'm in Donna, Texas, where the Sharyland Rattlers are facing off, of course, the Donna Redskins. Let's check out what happens. Hi, Patty. I wanted to know you. Okay, you have these gorgeous girls right here. What are they doing at tonight's game?
They're here to cheer the Redskin on. They're asked by the high school sponsors, and of course we say yes right away because this is their dream one day to become varsity cheerleaders. So right now they're excited to be here.
So right now I'm with Ms. Garcia, which is the director guys, Miss Garcia, can you tell us a little bit about the show that the girls are going to be performing during halftime?
Yes, we're doing a jazz kick routine to Party by Fergie.
Oh, awesome. And does that consist with a lot of maybe harsh movements? Or?
No, high kick routine. It's a bunch of high kicks.
Oh, and I noticed earlier that they're sitting down. Can you explain to us why they're sitting down? I've never been to a game where the band members and the dancers are sitting down.
We're sitting on the track because it's predicted that the game tonight will be sold out.
Oh, wow. So then, you heard it, guys. I think I came to the right game tonight. We witness what, wait, what did I witness? Are y'all going to be performing a little bit of this for tomorrow's pigskin?
Yeah, we're going to be performing tomorrow for the pigskin. We're very excited. We've been working very hard.
How excited are you about tonight's game?
Very excited,
Very excited. Our competition with Donna, our past games with Donna have been so much fun, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen tonight.
What, do you guys have a prediction for the score? I mean,
well, hopefully it'll be like all the other games, like 40-0. So hopefully it's like that.
Alrighty guys, well that's all for tonight. I'm Juanita Guerra for 956sports.com. See you next week.
Well, Jake, it's pretty easy to say what the story of the week is going to be in 4A. Ed Couch and Mercedes, man, I once likened that thing to the OU Texas game because of the week before the game, and there's a lot of talking and a lot of howling, a lot of painting and such. Painting of faces, painting of windows. You go over to Elsa and every little Dollar General has a big bee or yellow jacket painted on it. It's an amazing social experiment, anthropology as it is. Okay, so who wins the ball game? Not asking for predictions, just kind of an analysis, as it were.
Well, look, I know that Isaiah Garza was pretty much, he had this one, kind of circled as the game he wanted to come back to see. So I know he's going to be there for the game. I know that's what they've been saying.
So is Rene Presas, man. He's pretty tough, the big boy.
Yeah, and I think right now, I guess if we get the same team that played against, say, Mission Vets, I don't know, it's going to be different. It's going to be a different kind of game than I pretty much thought at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Ed Couches, they are beatable.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mercedes can beat them though.
Yeah, playing at home is going to help. Mercedes has to have that pace, and they have to continue to run the ball like they have. Gilbert Vela, Isaac Vela, against that Ed Couch defense is giving up about 8 or 9 points a game. Going to be tough. What about the Ed Couch offense? Hey, I think Bruno Sainz is doing a pretty good job, man. But what's the deal on Noe G? Is he not going to play again? Did you know?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything out of it.
Because he was only 71% completion when he got hurt. I mean, I hope that he's able to come back. But you know what? To have a guy like Sainz waiting in the wings is exactly the thing you need. Like Sherryland, one good player gets hurt, another good player comes in. I'm telling you, that's going to be a fun game. Now, let's talk a little bit about some other matchups here because there are some good ones. Where's my schedule? Valley View against Rio. The Rattlers are on a roll, man. Them Snakes are dangerous.
They win this game, and they're pretty much in.
Because they're 3-1. Ed Couch and Mercedes are 4-0 each, okay? Rio is 3-1. Let's see, and Rio has left Valley View, Vets, and Ed Couch. That's not the easiest schedule, I'll tell you what. But they beat Valley View, they'll be 4-1, and I believe 4-3 gets you in.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're going to lose 2 games. They may not.
Yeah, and they're in a nice spot because right now, they can kind of pick. Okay, I gotta get this one right now with Valley View, and if I get another one, that's just cake.
Right, and so in other words, they're doing it themselves.
Yeah.
That is called autonomy. You don't have to wait around and see can someone else do this. Speaking of Noe G, man, Noe G the 3, that guy's tough. An 80-yard run clinched the ball game last week.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because if you look at Rio at the beginning of the year.
Man, they got dogged, man. It was like,
what? It was an ugly team.
Yeah, I thought that was an anomaly. I really felt like they would get better, but I didn't think they'd be 3-1. They're going to make the playoffs unless they go crazy.
Especially this district. I thought, this was one of the best districts.
And I think it still is.
Yeah, because, competition-wise, I mean, you're looking at 6 deep.
That's right. Veterans is 2-2. Now, that team has looked very scary at times. It's had a few little hiccups. Who do they have now? Well, they got Mission. Good Lord. Now, Mission found the offense, guys. They scored 32 points last week, so it's not one of those teams that just plays D and can't score. Mission is on the rise. Even though they got beat, I still feel like they're pretty competitive. And playing Vets, they're going to be knocking them back, and then Vets is going to be knocking them back. That'd be another good game to see.
Yeah, and you know, I want to see how Santos does because you know, against Ed Couch, when I finally got to go see him play,
right?
Yeah, he was
still hurt.
He's still hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so it all depends on how this is.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's going to be. This is a great week. Forget about next week and all those great games. This week is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. Okay, Roma and PSG Southwest. Now, Roma is, where are they at? Roma is 1-2 right now.
Yeah.
But you know what? They have, the schedule is most favorable to the Gladiators. They've got some winnable games coming up, and they also got a guy we're going to talk about in a minute, little Orly Solis, who, for my money, I would love to see Orly Solis on a nightly basis in 31 or 32-5A, just to see what he would do. I have a feeling he would be a 1,500-yard back, don't you?
Oh, yeah, especially behind even bigger lines.
Oh, yeah, around North line?
Yeah.
Or Brownsville Veterans line, that looks like the A&M Kingsville line. They're amazing, man.
Yeah, you know, I can only imagine because the way he is, because he's shifty, he's a water bug.
He is a water bug. So Roma gets PSG Southwest, then Mercedes, but then Valley View. So those are the two lower feeding bottom fish of the district, and no offense, that's just fact. But Mercedes, you think Roma can beat Mercedes? I know they're not looking past them, but that might get them in. If they sweep, if they run the table, they're going to get in.
Well, you know, I guess it all depends on this week, you know, because, you know, they could have some injuries, you know, because the Ed Couch Mercedes game, you know they're going to hit, and they're going to come
man,
hard.
God, it's great. I wish I could get out to see that game. I'm going to be at Cats for Rivalry Week in Edinburgh, but I'm going to be paying some attention to Ed Couch and Mercedes, so call us and tell us who wins. All right, so let's stick with Roma, though, as we talk about Carlos Robledo went out there to talk about Orly Solis, one of the premier backs in the Valley, has a chance to go 2,000 yards back-to-back. That just doesn't happen very often.
No, not at all.
Carlos, what's up?
Roma is a town that embraces its heritage, history, and small country town atmosphere.
I think people here take pride in the fact that things here still go slow. The days go slow. It's very old time country. You know what I'm saying? That's what we like, and we love it.
The history of Roma is well documented on these landmarks and billboards near City Hall. Today, history in the Roma Gladiator program is being celebrated during a community-wide parade and pep rally at the school. They are here to honor the football team and running back Orly Solis, who earlier this season ran for an astonishing 460 yards against Laredo Figueroa during week 2.
I didn't even know how many yards I had until the end of the game, but it was a great game. We all played very well. I got a lot of yards, obviously.
After the game, my stat guy told me, and I was like, "Whoa, wow, man!" But it was a combination of Orly's explosive speed and some gaping holes, man.
Tonight, Orly is presented with the Built Ford Tough Texas High School Football Player of the Week trophy. Orly's 460 yards broke the Valley record of Mishak Rivas, who back in 2007 rushed for 431 yards against San Benito. Orly is small at 5'7" and 160 pounds, but he can run lights out. In track, he's been to regionals and state, and to make up for his size, Orly plays with a lot of heart.
Orly is all about attitude, you know. He has a never quit attitude. He has a die-hard attitude. He's gonna give you everything he's got.
And then there is his offensive line.
We got great offensive line. They're probably the best in the Valley, if not the best. We got a D1 player right there in the left guard.
Orly is talking about Ovidio Hernandez. At 6'3" and 270 pounds, he anchors the line.
It's been good blocking for a guy like Orly Solis, knowing that I can help out my teammate get that many yards and score that many touchdowns.
While the football team continues to celebrate at the pep rally, there is a subtle reminder of what they have yet to achieve. Basketball, tennis, and other sports have gone on to find postseason success. All these banners indicate that. The football team is still looking for its first ever playoff appearance.
You know, last year we were we were a game out. You know, we lost 3 games by a total of 5 points. So we were 5-5. You know, easily 8-2, 7-3. Right, already busting out the door. The year before that, we went into double overtime for our playoff lives, man.
And the Roma Gladiators will have to wait another year before their opportunity to go to the postseason.
So there's no doubt that the improvement that we've made in the program is definitely there. Now we just have to get over the hump.
For Orly, making the playoffs is more important than breaking records.
All I do doesn't count as long as we do make the playoffs. If we make the playoffs, then I can brag about my yards, brag about everything else. But until right now, it doesn't count until we do something with it.
The Gladiators are 1-3 in district, with again some close losses. They have 3 games left for Orly Solis and the Gladiators to make the playoffs and create more history for the town of Roma. Carlos Robledo, 956sports.com.
3, 2, and...
There's no one?
I don't want to say it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, we're going anyway. This guy, he's too fancy schmancy for us all. Let's talk some 3A football, man, because you know what? There's some good teams down there. Some surprises last week. You would have knocked me over with a feather when Raymondville lost.
Yeah. Would you ever look? Raymondville played. They beat
Gruya. Yeah,
they beat Gruya. They played Port Isabel. And Port Isabel. Look at that running game.
14-0, you know, I mean, it was legitimate. Then they turn around and play a Zapata team that has 1 win all year and they get blown out. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and look, Zapata has a great running back.
Yeah. I guess he must have had a big game. I didn't see anything in the paper. Yeah. I've yet to be able to track down what happened in the game, but they lost 46-27. That really throws their season into a little bit of confusion.
Yeah, and it was shocking because, you know, especially what they did against Gruya, you figured, oh, this team's on track. They got tunnel vision right now. They're only seeing, they're seeing the playoffs.
Well, they better get back on tunnel vision because Kingsville's coming to town, that explosive Kingsville Brahma team, and that's going to be a fun game. That's yet another of the games on October 25th that's going to be fantastic. Raymondville needs to win. Yeah. Now, Gruya's off this week, but they're looking pretty good.
Yeah. And, look, I mean, Abel's a great coach, and you knew that after that Raymondville game, he was just going to get it back on track. And what was the score last week?
Which one?
For Gruya.
35-21.
35-21. Yeah. So, I think Gruya still has a chance to make the playoffs, maybe second seed.
Peña Blanca is starting to come back on. I mean, there's a veteran quarterback, 3 like Sean Montemayor from South. Here's Peña Blanca. He's been in every type of situation. They got some flyers. They got a defense. I think they're a playoff team. Now, Zapata plays at Lyford. That could be a nutty game. I have no idea Zapata was going to beat Raymondville. I'm still floored by it.
And what I guess what we're going to see is we're going to see Lyford throw the ball all over them, and we're going to see them
throw, run. Yeah. Okay, 32-3A. Port Isabel. Did you think they would score 61 points on LaFerrier?
Oh, man. Something else, because LaFerrier had the lead early, right?
Yeah.
I remember seeing the box score or the scores as they were coming in, and I was like, "What? Typo?" And then all of a sudden, no, Port Isabel just started adding the points on.
Now we watched the video on Port Isabel, and remember the thing that we noticed that was interesting?
What's that?
They must have had like 5 different formations.
Oh, yeah.
Man, they run a guy in motion, set him up on the wing. They got the stack I with 3 backs. Then they went 2 wides. I mean, they did everything in the book. You don't know where they're coming from.
And I think it scares everybody now because when you're going to go over tape on them, you're like, oh no, they're going to run this formation. Oh wait, how do we match up with this one?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, because that team, they can do it with that team. I mean, they bring in a big, like a jumbo set with their tight end, and they pass to him.
And he catches it every time, Miguel Ramirez. Now, here's the thing. I've already said, I'm on record as saying that I think Aguilera, 22 for PI, is the best lead blocker in the Valley. I haven't, of course, seen them all. That kid from, was it Memorial, too, is pretty tough, 32. So, I mean, there are some kids who will come and hit you. Matthews, his name. But Aguilera, man, he lays you out every time, and those backs just, they spring from his blocks. So whenever he lines up, you need to watch him because he's going to come out and hit somebody.
Yeah, and that team, that whole team, I mean, look, they're stacked on defense.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They're stacked on offense. And, they probably got
a good kicker this year, Luis Cacho.
And they got the best floor general. They got the best little general out there.
Monty Stumbaugh, well, Imart, I call him, Martinez. But Monty Stumbaugh is another one of those coaches, Mario Pena and him and Coach Tony and Madrano, those veteran coaches that have been around, they've been to every war, and they know how to do this. You know, some of the great new young coaches we have are going to be fantastic, but they got to learn how to do everything. 4, 5, 6, 8 years. Even Manny Gomez, I think, is in his 7th year. He would probably say that he's still learning some things about how to be a coach, how to be a varsity coach and all this stuff. So I feel like having Stumbaugh is a definite advantage because, man, he's taking them deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think, you know, in every year, I mean, look, last year there was, you know, they're going to extend his contract. I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a PI resident,
come on, man, what else do you want exactly?
Give him a 5-year contract. Probably get emails from PI now.
I know, yeah.
But,
so PI and the surprise team of the week, if it's not Zapata, it's Hidalgo, who came up and beat Rio Hondo 20-12. Where did Chris Anderson come from? 161 yards, 3 touchdowns. That little dude is tough.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't go to Louisiana next year.
Oh, man, you're sorry, man.
But
you're sorry.
He's good. The way he ran the ball against Rio Hondo, and Rio Hondo scored back. I mean, they
did. Had a long run.
You know, didn't look like there was a lot of defense, but you know, man, Hidalgo. If you
gotta love it, man. Okay, Coach, those guys over there deserve a lot of credit, man, because people left them for dead and they pulled off a big win. Now let's see what they do against Port Isabel. That's gonna be tough, but you know what? Stranger things have happened, right?
Yeah.
Where does La Feria go at 0-2 right now in district? That is a bad thing for them.
Yeah, and it's shocking because La Feria, with all that talent in the playoffs last year, you just figured, you know, they were gonna be better than what they played.
Well, they got to get with it, Coach Progresso is not bad.
Yeah.
And it's a good game this week. So the 3As are getting kind of tricky. I'll tell you what, man, I was pleased with Santa Rosa. They had a good win over Falfurrias. They didn't have a ton of yards, but you know what? They were steady. They let the other team make mistakes, and little Adrian Canales is a pretty good player. Santa Rosa's 3-0, man. Yeah, and they got San Diego this week, and that's a team that La Feria beat 28-0 in the first week of the season. The big game for the Warriors, I'm not trying to say look ahead, but they know that November 1st, right now Mathis is undefeated. Mathis and Santa Rosa are undefeated at the top of the district, and they meet November 1st. Congratulations so far to the Warriors. Another team that a lot of people were like, I don't know about. They're doing good.
Yeah, and you know, I just wish we could, you know, we had the manpower to go out to more of their games because from what I've heard, it's a good game to go to.
Hey, Canales had a touchdown pass and he intercepted one and ran it back for a touchdown. How about La Villa, 6-2, very quietly. They scored the most points of any team in the Valley last week, 68. Yeah. They beat Ben Bolt like a stepchild. They just whooped them, man.
And, you know, and Ben Bolt has always kind of been their nemesis. You know, it's been, you know, that's always been that bump in the road for them.
Yeah, now Santa Maria, Monte Alto, and Santa Maria, by the way, got past Monte Alto, even though they had 135 yards in penalties. I think La Villa is a more experienced program, okay, and so they've been around a lot longer. They probably have the edge against those two, but there are some players out there. That Isai Garcia from Santa Maria had 160-something yards. Felix Cantu is a good player. We need to get some Santa Maria video. Let's start working on that, man. We need some video from those cats. Is there anything else we need to go over? Now that we're in hour 2 of the telethon.
Yeah. No, you know, it's been a great week. I mean, it really has. And, you know, I'd just like to thank our sponsors, McDonald's, South Texas College, and the Payne Auto Group for making this possible.
They're there for us every week. We hope you'll go out and patronize those businesses and find us some more too, because we're going to need some more moral support and financial support down the road. But as it is now, we're cruising, man.
Yeah.
Jake Berry, Greg Selbert, the show. I would have to say that, you know, having seen all what the other cats have to offer in the media, we're about 6-2 and headed for the playoffs right now. That's what I'm saying, man. Hey, so see you next week. This is the show. Be cool.